When one considers the prestige of the Zorvax Academy of Galactic Innovations, one imagines towering ziggurats of luminescent stone, brimming with the finest minds from the farthest flung corners of the universe. It is a place where the rigid, tape-measured standards of surpassingly intelligent beings are matched only by their equally towering sense of propriety. Into this respectable milieu stumbled what can only be described as humanity's most haphazardly assembled representatives, much to the bemusement of beings like myself, Widget, the chief overseer of alien relations at the Academy. The news fluttered through intergalactic channels like an errant paper airplane, undoubtedly a primitive human artifact. This year, the promising innovation students were to engage in an unprecedented cultural exchange with a selected group of human scholars, deemed unlikely heroes by the Human Selection Board. The aim? To solve a hypothetical but very challenging scenario using human creativity and alien logic. A contest, if you will, of mental and procedural dexterity. Humans, known primarily for their penchant for fortuitous blunders, were hardly anyone's first thought when planning such an event. No offense intended, of course. Nevertheless, gracing the Academy grounds, they brought with them an air of spontaneity. The kind that was shunned in our culture, but somehow made sense standing shoulder to shoulder with these peculiar bipedal organisms. At the head of this curious ensemble was Dr. Emma Ramirez, a human whose mild demeanor was rivaled only by her relentless curiosity. Accompanying her were individuals whose incredible aptitude for creating solutions on the go defied any semblance of logic. There was Tony, the tinkerer, famed for his incredibly low success-to-explosion ratio, and Isabella, a culinary scientist who believed in solving problems with cake baking, albeit disastrously. The challenge presented was simple in its setup, though monumental in execution. The Academy had simulated a failing planetary ecosystem, spiraling towards implosion due to an imbalance in core nutrients. Students were instructed to engineer a solution that would both stabilize the system and prevent future disruptions. Solutions were expected to adhere to a perplexing array of conditions akin to intergalactic traffic regulations. The nonchalant entrance of humans into this whirlwind of focus and determination was nothing if not hilarious. Emma and her team stepped onto the projection platform, maps of the virtual planet flickering around them. Tony nodded knowingly, chewing on a pen cap as he surveyed the projection. He lifted a finger, the universal human signal for I've got an idea, and it might just be crazy enough to work. I call it Project Juicebox, Tony stated, as if presenting a scientific theorem as immutable as gravity. A holographic model sprang to life beside him, displaying, to my utter confusion, a diagram of what appeared to be a simple box with a straw protruding from it. Stifled giggles rippled among the surrounding alien pupils. Perhaps this was some human jest. Their humor often eludes me. Emma, however, failed to falter in her belief. You highlight innovation in simplicity, she shrugged, as though such things were as common as stars in the night sky. Upon further examination, Tony's plan wasn't entirely devoid of merit. The juicebox concept aimed to alleviate the imbalance by injecting concentrated nutrients into the planetary core through strategically placed, draw tube-like structures. Though absent of grandeur, the unhindered directness of the thought held an undeniable appeal. In the spirit of fairness, we permitted the human team to move forward with their concept alongside traditional alien proposals. As they embarked on their project's execution, Isabella, whose expertise lay specifically in the intersection of food and science, set about concocting prototype nutrients with fervor reminiscent of an earthly festival of cuisine. The problem-solving dynamics they exhibited were remarkable, utilizing sensory cues and their amiable disputes as a breeding ground for innovation. Needs more coffee, Isabella declared upon taste testing a particularly thick sample. Her deft adjustments, performed between throwing culinary gadgets about like precision mini-meteors, resulted in a nutrient blend with the consistency of pudding and shockingly effective restorative properties. With those flavors apparently enhancing brainwaves among the team, the group doubled their productivity overnight. Meanwhile, Tony's design called for trans-dimensional excavation, a degree of complexity that his initial blueprint did not even hint at. It was baffling to witness, as his years spent playing an everything-you-can-craft virtual game came to life in front of our impressionable minds. Now, I must confess, there existed within us an innate skepticism about the outcome of such an untested theory. Could we savor the crumbly audacity of their take on a complex task with results beyond simply tolerable? Indeed, the proof was metaphorically in the pudding. The day of the task conclusion arrived. Alien scholars with feathery intelligence, standing alongside their human counterparts, marveled as the nutrient juice boxes were lowered into the virtual planetary ecosystem. The seemingly naive approach was both simple and complex, a marvel of duct tape and improvisation elegance. The planetary system, perturbed by the interference at first, eventually showed signs of restoration. Its pulsating energies evened out, and the digital flora blossomed in a gradual, enthralling renewal. Like mixing the correct colors on a palette, the result was unexpectedly harmonious. "By the creators," I whispered, unable to hide my astonishment. The Academy's eyes were fixed on the screen, confounded yet reverential. A multitude of alien beings thoroughly charmed by the sight and the delightfully unpredictable path to success. It was a revelation, a boulder of comedy tumbling down the path of progress, gathering momentum to unexpectedly fruitful results. The humans' decision-making process had not only astonished everyone but brought unforeseen inspiration in its wake. Our educational insight, a study in contrasts, was nothing short of electrifying. We recognized their victory with grace, setting new records not solely in simulation but in spirit. The human contingent celebrated in delight, their victory remarkably sweet yet entirely unanticipated. That day, a novel sentiment emerged within the hallowed corridors of the Zorvax Academy. Admiration, faintly spiced with the flavor of humility. For the galaxy had once again been surprised by the delightful unpredictability of humanity, a species of what we'd once considered unlikely heroes. Perhaps after all, there is a beauty in the chaos that leads to problem-solving methods unknown. A beauty which confounds and ultimately champions the elegance of simplicity. As the humans returned to their distant star system, there was a collective pause, an airborne inquiry. Perhaps we could all use a little more juice in our lives, in all its manifold flavors.